Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns. I'm your host, Josh Pies, and this is the show where scrappy founders, rebellious visionaries, and business misfits pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build something extraordinary from absolutely nothing. No trust fund, no fairy god investor, just grit, duct tape, caffeine, yeah, and that dream. We're talking about the wild, unfiltered ride of turning chaos into cash flow and ideas into impact. So buckle up. This is no Disney movie, but there might be some magic. Let's face it, even Elon started in a garage. So without further ado, let's get to the next episode. Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns, presented by C47 Digital Studios. Bootstrapped Unicorns, we're back and we're trying something new right now. Welcome to Hot Takes on Bootstrapped Unicorns. That's right. So what is a hot take? You know what a hot take is. You live in a modern society. It's somebody walking in and going, I am a contrarian. I think opposite. And here's why you should listen to me. And I'll tell you what, great entrepreneurs, the business authors in our world are taking on important topics with a hot take so that you can think differently. And so this hot takes thing is going to be fun, I promise, but it's also going to be really informative. It's going to challenge you. It's going to sharpen you. And that's why I'm excited for this very first hot takes episode to have Laura Patac on today. Now, she is an author, but she also has incredible authority. Every once in a while, I meet an author who just wrote because they had an idea, but they have no authority. This lady has been operating at the high levels of the corporate world for a long enough time that she is somebody that you sit at the foot of and you listen to because she's got something that she has polished to say to you today. So Laura, I'm so thrilled to know you now, and I'm glad you're on the show. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Hello, Joshua. So I'm so amazed about the introduction. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Your energy, it's absolutely amazing. So thank you for having me. And let's get things on the roll because I think that your listeners and your viewers are very curious already.
Well, they are curious, but real quick, though, because I know you're going to pull some of your hot takes out of Stories with a Purpose. You are an author. When did you release this book? And what is the 30-second elevator pitch on what this book is?
The book got released on March 8th this year. And the 30-second pitch could be, if you wonder why you are where you are right now in life, it means that you have a story behind. And this book is helping you understand your story. Your story is like the mirror, and understanding that, you'll understand where you're going to go further.
Outstanding. Okay. So now that we know what your book is about, you and I were talking off air a few minutes ago about a couple of hot takes that you have right now. And let me tell you, I draw a lot of inspiration, or at least I think I draw a lot of inspiration from when I'm out on the internet and I doom scroll a little bit and, oh, there's Tony Robbins and I'll listen to him and oh, it's John Maxwell. I'll listen to him. But you're a little bit of a contrarian on this. What's your hot take about inspiration?
Well, I realized that most of the time, and I did the same, most of the time in life, we look outside to receive validation, to receive recognition. We compare ourselves with other people because we human beings, we are a bit competitive. We look up to some of people which we consider role models. Their path, the way how they carry on themselves, they dress. But the truth is that this might not help us to get where we want to be. Because the truth is that the foundation for everything we do in life is our own story. And I'm saying this because looking into your story, it's like you look into your mirror. You understand the big realizations in your life. What you felt in those moments, what you achieved, what learnings you had in those moments in life. You realized which people were around you in those moments of big realizations. You are making big decisions in life. So what was the path of having that decision made and what that decision brought you further on? So understanding own story, it's like your origin. I like to refer to it like your origin story. You will be able to understand your strengths, your mistakes, the learnings. And ultimately, you'll be able to see your own path and patterns, because the path is one, the patterns, it's a very different thing. And understanding that, you will be able to take the decisions where you want to go further, but also you'll be able to grow. You'll be able to understand what are your blind spots, how you can do things better, not for the others or for others to give you recognition, but to be able to look in the mirror.
Okay, so I really appreciate this because, I am a believer in the adage, comparison is the thief of joy. But at the same time, and help me unpack this, I wonder how we get inspiration to, I don't know, to come up with new ideas. Where do we come up with new ideas in order to add to our story? And is it okay to go and look at what somebody else did, compare or learn from? Like, what is the right attitude when we see other people's things, so we don't lose the opportunity to look within? But there's got to be something, because other people matter, but I don't know how to balance that.
I think other people and diversity. For sure, we all have around us a group of people whom we can trust, who with which we talk and we bounce ideas. We share opinions, a point of view. I think it's very important to have a different perspective coming into your life. But that perspective doesn't necessarily mean that it changes totally the way how you think, or the way how you're gonna. It might influence the way how you might look into taking a decision. You might look into taking an action. It could be a very good information, but that doesn't mean that is the norm and is the rule. So I think bringing diversity, bringing perspective, learning, unlearning, like reading books, listening to Tony Robbins. I'm a big fan of Mastermind. All that is like learning, but learning needs to be applicable, and you need to be very critical on what you are intaking and what is appropriate for you in your life.
Yeah. Okay. That feels balanced. And so again, you're looking more within and adjudicating what the right pathway is for yourself, with a willingness to gather data, but not let that data become your pathway.
Exactly.
I get it.
And I think the other very important piece, which I'm a strong believer in, is that as we are evolving, as we are growing up, we are experiencing. And my theory is that as an individual, you are the sum up of who you are from your DNA, the education, and the experiences in life. These are the three elements which makes you who you are today. And I'm a stronger believer that as you are evolving in life and discover who you are, the most critical point in life for someone is to really understand your purpose, why you are here. Understanding that is going to be much more easily when you are making decisions, when you want to make choices in life, to really bounce back and to ask the question: if I'm making this decision, if I'm taking this action, if I'm doing something about, the things around me, is that being linked with my purpose? Is it aligned with my purpose? Because when everything is like falling back, like the puzzle pieces back to your purpose, actually it's much more easily to make decisions. And having the purpose, understanding your purpose, is also going to lead you further on to really iron out your values. We all have values. I read a lot about values and what Brené Brown thinks about values. And it's true. Some people, I was the one having like 15 values on the list, right? But out of 15 values, maybe there are just 3 which are very important for me, and maybe it's 1 non-negotiable. So to me, having this introspection, sitting with myself, understanding my emotions, the way I feel, the way how I take decisions, having a structure about, how you judge information, which information you are taking in, because information is everywhere nowadays, which information is valid, which is not. All this, it's a matter of like really looking to yourself like being the most important asset in your life.
Yeah, all of this seems to ring very true for me. And it's off air again, you and I were talking about, you had two hot takes, and one of them was kind of on the personal side. And you had a question for me, but I want to skip that for a second and go to your second hot take though, because, we've got this introspection, we've got purpose, which we have to align with our purpose, but you have to understand it in the first place. And it feels like that dovetails nicely with your second hot take. So what was that hot take? Because I think it connects.
Well, definitely it connects, because you mentioned very simple at the beginning that we are not by ourselves. We are not alone. We have people which we meet, or they are companions during our journey in life. And relationships are part of our own story. Mm-hmm. During my life and my experience, especially when I was moving around, and I moved around quite a lot.
Yeah, wait, hold on for a second. Everybody should know, how many countries have you lived in?
7 countries on 5 continents. Wow. And that all these moves taught me a lesson that relationships, they are very important. And wherever I was leaving a place, I knew somehow, it broke my heart that I knew somehow that I was leaving behind some relationships. Some relationships lasted, and that was very hard work, because it takes 2 to tango. It's same in relationship. Either it's marriage, either it's friendship, either it's partnership. To maintain that long distance, different time zones, that's very hard work. But what I learned that the relationships in which both of us, both people, they really put a lot of work, they're gonna last. The others, they're gonna fade away, and that's okay, because they'll just make space for new relationships. And I also learned over the last 30 years that even long relationships, 5-10 years relationships, might fade away just because we evolve differently, and that's okay. It means that we grew apart, but individually we are doing very well, and I'm happy for it. So I cherish each and every cross path with any friend or even acquaintance which cross my life, because there is so much to learn and also add to the perspective. We talked about perspectives. Every person in my life, it comes with a perspective sometimes that I'm seeing, oh my God, I haven't thought about it. And bringing that perspective to relationship, it's important. I don't like people who are just agreeing with you because to me, that's not the purpose. It's important to agree to disagree, respectfully and with the right arguments, because that is a healthy conversation, which drives also a healthy relationship.
I love that. And so, if you're growing apart, but you're growing, and you're growing into your purpose, and that person helped you discover elements of that purpose through the relationship, there's a beauty in that ecosystem, but it still means for you to go into your purpose that you may have to grow in different directions. And so I think that the disconnection of some relationships gets conflated with a failure. And what I'm hearing from you is that it doesn't mean that necessarily.
It doesn't mean that.
Because it can mean that you're both in a very positive way growing towards what you're meant to be.
Yeah. And there is one belief I have about relationships. I think everyone needs a support model in life.
Yeah.
And the support model, for me, is like a chair with 3 legs. I'll be very, so it's not 4, it's 3. It's very trendy. Could be a high chair.
Okay.
So one leg, it's about family, either the blood family or your family of choice.
Yep.
The other leg, it's about the mentors, the coaches, because we all need that, irrespective how experienced we are. And the third leg is about those friendships which really bring value, and it's a very balanced give and receive exchange during the relationship. These are the 3 elements which everyone needs to have in our life. If you extrapolate that to the corporate world where I've been, I think that the family will always be there. The coaching and mentoring will always be there. The relationship could be the peers, the teams, the people who rally and who are being there for you to help you achieve your goals, and you help them in exchange achieve theirs. So this three-leg chair has been always my model. And nowadays in entrepreneurship, I realize that I might add the 4th leg, and that is about the networking, the partnerships.
Sure.
Which comes in entrepreneurship as a very important a space where networking is helping you connect within industry or even beyond the industry, and is helping you grow your business. And that is another support model which needs to be part of someone's strategy. Like when you do your strategy as entrepreneur, you do, strategy, but you have like a marketing strategy, the business strategy, and you must have the networking strategy.
Well, and your network is your net worth. And that just, as an entrepreneur, and from my bio, I know you were reading it. I've spent so much time in my life as an entrepreneur. True story. I've only had a W-2, which in the US obviously is you are employed by another. I've only been employed by somebody else for 2.5 years of my entire life. I turned 45 this year, and only 2.5 years have I actually had a job from somebody else. And
you are an entrepreneur through and through.
Through and through, yeah. And so, my network is what has always floated me in the good times and the bad. In the good times, my network is there to help raise that good time to a better time. And in the low times, they're the ones who help me climb out of the hole. Excuse me. And so you just need that network. So I like the idea of your chair for an entrepreneur having an extra leg, because that rings completely true for me. Now, I know you came to the table today with a question as well, and I'd love to answer that if you do have one.
Well, read your biography, and the question is, how do you see the work that you do impacting the world outside? Because you are doing many things, and I've seen the messages which you are getting from across the ocean, from Africa. You are doing so much for communities. So I really want to understand your vision. How do you see your work impacting the world? And what you want to really leave there for people to really get to be grateful and happy and positive impact?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because this was a hard-earned truth for me. And I'll go really fast because the backstory is important, but the details of the backstory might not be important. So when I was 18, I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player, and I had all of the inclination. I had all of the scouts. I had everything said I was going to be a professional baseball player, until the shoulder fell apart and was not repairable. And I lost my identity because I thought I was Josh, the pro baseball player. Then later, I had a very large multi-million-dollar business completely destroyed. And At that point, I was the entrepreneur. And so my identity was destroyed again. And then later on, I end up in the film and television world, where things change so fast. I had no time to build an identity, because 3 years after I start something, Projects are closed. The industry wants something different. I have to be different for the industry. And so there was no time to build an identity as the filmmaker because I really wasn't, because I'm willing to move with the industry, but I felt like I need an identity. And a lot of people feel like they need an identity. And what I realized is my identity doesn't matter. My purpose matters, to your point earlier. And so I, through a lot of professional development, personal development work, I realized that my purpose needs to be portable. If I'm no longer a filmmaker and I work in a nonprofit, I need to have the same purpose. I need to be the same Josh. If I bag groceries or I'm a landscaper, I need to be the same Josh. And so now I've got a portable purpose, and that portable purpose is to empower families through the work that I do. And it can be a couple chess moves to get there, right? So in the work that we do at C47 Film Associates, which is we are video podcasters, we help businesses get their message out to the world, but those businesses are made up of people who are living their lives as outside of their business as a human with a family. And if I can support them through quality content that helps them get their message out for their business, grows their bottom line, they can raise pay, kids can get a better vacation, they can wear better sneakers, they can sleep better at night because their bellies are full. All of those things matter for that family. So everything that I do, yeah, it might be business focused, but it's in the name of making sure that the families that are represented by those businesses are happy, healthy, they're well adjusted. I want to know that there are smiles on those families' faces. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, and every one of those kids, heck, even the dogs and cats. Like I want them to be just the well-adjusted nuclear family that I can help support. So my purpose and my business's purpose ultimately ties to whether you sleep well with a full belly at night. And so you mentioned, the messages we got from Africa, that was from our old TV show. And when we were getting fan mail from around the world, that actually ties to how I feel about this purpose, because those people were saying thank you because the messages we gave on the show affected them at the heart level, and they were a happier person or a better adjusted person because of the message we shared. And so they, at a core level, were better for their own families and better for themselves. And so as long as I'm part of some equation that is allowing other people to grow and thrive, I'm a happy person. And that's my purpose. So that's how that connects.
So the reason why I'm smiling is because we are back full circle. We are back to where we started the conversation about you being like, 8 years old and, what was driving you. That was a bit of conversation before jumping here, but we are back to purpose and family as being one of your non-tradable values.
100%.
Isn't this amazing how, however you discuss and whatever topics, whatever you do in life, everything is coming back all together. So thank you so much for answering the question, and thank you so much for sharing.
Well, and I'm just thrilled that you came on the show. So a couple of things is also non-negotiable is I really want people to have access to your book, Stories with a Purpose. Where could they find stories with a purpose so that they can start mining into themselves and start understanding their purpose so that they can be better for themselves and their family? How do I find this book?
So the book is available on Amazon, also in the US with my book publisher, BookBaby. It's available on Kindle version and also cool. Paper. And there are a couple of other outlets, Walmart, Waterstone, Kobo. So there are 12 digital platforms. But for everyone, the easiest way, Amazon, US viewers and listeners, BookBaby, my publisher. And I really hope that they will experience my book, Stories with Purpose. Your story has purpose too, because this book is an experience. You don't read it. You just need to work it. The result, the outcome of the book is going to be fulfilling, because I've just seen one of my readers coming out with 18 verses poem, her own story. And that was for me the most emotional moment, and the fulfillment and not the satisfaction, the emotional breakthrough of my reader having that story was absolutely amazing. So
I absolutely adore this. This is so good.
Yeah, I even now I'm a bit emotional because I just experienced that last Sunday, and to me, when you dive into the book, you really need to take the time, and you really need to create that white space for you to read the stories, to answer some mind-bending questions, which will enable you to write your story. And if you write your story just like normal words, that's okay too, unless you want to translate it into lyrics to get that step ahead, because that is something which, as a reader, you can share it with me, share it with the world, and that becomes your story. A bit of encryption in metaphor, but as valuable as it is.
This is fascinating stuff. So what I want to do is I want to encourage everybody. When I was in college, we had the option of getting digital books, which was pretty ahead of the time, frankly, because I'm old. But we also could get paper books that we could own. And I would get the paper books and I would have a conversation with the author by writing in the margins and underlining and taking notes. And it pretty much destroys the book. You can't hand it off to somebody because you've had a conversation. So if you're ever going to gift it, you got to buy another copy. But I think with Stories with a Purpose, I'm going to challenge you, viewer today or listener today, go buy a copy that you can write in. I like Kindles. They're nice. They're handy, but get a paper-based one so you can have that conversation and write your story. And I love that as lyrics, write a song or a poem about yourself. And yeah, sure, there's metaphor in there that you'll understand better than anybody, but it also is something that you won't forget. So go do that. That's your homework today. Laura, I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. This is super cool. I look forward to connecting with you again. But until then, we got to keep these shows short, everybody. Bootstrapped Unicorns is your resource where you're going to have entrepreneurial iron sharpens iron moments. And this has been a hot takes episode with 2 big hot takes from Laura Patac. Next time, I have no clue who's going to be on, as you always know. It's going to be somebody who's valuable to you. That much I promise. We'll see you on the next episode.